What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy Sports Now. Today, I want to talk to you about avoiding Tommy John. Whether you're a real life player, a coach, or you're just in this for the fantasy sports, it's all relevant, and this is a good place for you. I have done extensive research on trends and analytics to try to figure out what is causing all these players to have Tommy John surgery. I'm in a very deep fantasy baseball league, which has led me down the route of not wanting to take players who end up getting Tommy John. And what we have found over the years is that there are absolute trends into why people have Tommy John. And so this series is going to go through all of the things that we have found. There's probably going to be 6 or 7 different tips. And honestly, if you are a real life player and you're concerned about it, these can and will apply to you. In general, it's going to be more fantasy driven probably, but I want to get right into it. So the first tip is to avoid what is known in the community as the Tommy John twist. So what is the Tommy John twist? I'm going to show you a picture here once I get that up. Right here is David Price. So what we're looking at is the ball hand, and we've always been taught this as kids, and it needs to stop because it's actually the number one trend into why people are having Tommy John, at least based on our research. Notice how he is doing the classic point the ball to second base. That is what I was taught as a kid. I didn't pitch, so I never had really elbow problems, but this is what we're always taught. We're always taught to do the field goal posts and point that ball to second base. Before I go further, I want to actually try this with you. So if you don't even need a ball. I have a ball, but I just want you to pretend like you are going to throw. This is my home plate. Back towards you will be second base. So when I throw, I always did the shield. I didn't do the goal post because I used to catch a lot. So do the shield, and I get my my second goal post up, but I always had a loose backhand where David Price is up and pointing towards second. So I want you to go from a loose spot to pointing towards second, but I want you to really extend it. Try to point your arm as far as you can and just keep going as if you're trying to point towards first base, and just hold it there for as long as you can. Just keep holding. My ball is pointing at second base right now. I can't really go much further, and I tell you guys, I feel pain right now just by doing that little experience right here in my elbow. So imagine now, if you will, being a major league pitcher. That was just 10 seconds of me doing that. So imagine, if you will, being a major league pitcher who has that motion, has that arm slot pointing towards second base and throwing at 100 miles an hour for 100 pitches every 5 days, not including any warm-ups or anything like that. So that's what we're talking about here. Because I still feel that in my arm, and I kind of have to wiggle it out before it kind of goes away. So try that first of all to get what I'm talking about. And I'm going to show you a couple pictures here, and then we'll get to a video of kind of what I'm talking about. This is Casey Mize, unfortunately, for my Tigers here, as I drop my baseball. You can see how he's predominantly pointing his arm, or his wrist I should say, towards second base. This is what's known as the Tommy John twist. The ideal position is to face it more towards third, or at least in between second and third. Anywhere not as far as you can possibly go towards second base is a good thing. One more here is Lance McCullers, which we usually take our pictures when that front foot sets down, just like this one is here, and we want to see where your body is when that happens, because that's when a lot of the weight starts to distribute from back foot to front foot. So look at his arm here, clearly pointing right at second base. And like I said, if you haven't done it yet, try that little experiment, because it will hurt your arm. And this is what we see constantly with people who end up with Tommy John surgery, is that they're doing this little Tommy John twist. So I'm going to play Lance McCullers' little clip here, and you can see his arm pointing towards second, and you can just see how much action. Hopefully that didn't get all choppy on you. We can see how much action his arm actually requires. If that was choppy, apologize. We'll go back to the pictures. Let's see if we can get a good one here. There we go. maybe. I don't know why it's being so choppy. So anyway, we'll go back to the picture here. If you can see, it's just this is the number one tip to stop doing, and this is the simplest one to fix. Instead of pointing it at second, point it towards third. Make it something that you do. So if you're in fantasy, you want to look for people who are doing this and avoid them, basically. So when Casey Mize came up and was picked number one by Detroit, we all looked at this and kind of went, oh, man. And so in our fantasy leagues, we all avoided him. So of course somebody took him. And he probably will have some good years, but we highly suspect that Tommy John is going to come his way. So that's tip number one. We got 6 more. We're going to make these short. Hopefully it's 6 more. There's a lot of things that go into this, more than this, but this is the first and easiest thing to change. And if you're a real life player, you should start doing this immediately. Thanks, y'all.